Welcome, cadets. Today we're going to be learning a few more open chords. We'll be learning the D minor, and the big G, which will be your first really tough chord. And if you haven't seen the first guitar chord lesson, I go through some fretting hand techniques to hopefully help your learning curve be a little bit quicker, and also just to play, with better technique and hopefully play a little bit cleaner. So check that out if you haven't seen it yet. And so let's just get right to it. We'll start with the D chord. Here's your D chord. You're going to be muting these top two, the E and the A, and this chord only plays the bottom four strings. So start out with your middle finger on the second fret of the E string, and then put your ring finger on the third fret of the B string and your pointer finger on the second fret of the G string. So each note, here's your open D, here's your G, second fret, your B, third fret, and your E, second fret. And together, not too bad. Let's go ahead and go straight to the D minor, which even though the fingering is quite a bit different for the D minor, the only difference actually in what strings are played is the E. Instead of being on the second fret, you're going to be on the first fret instead. Well, that's really the only difference, but you do play it a bit different. So let's look at the fingering. You start with your pointer finger this time on the first fret of the E string, and then we'll go ring finger on the third fret of the B and middle finger on the second fret of the G, and we'll also play the open D, and same thing as last time, you don't play the E or the A. So you've got your open D, your G, second fret, your B, third fret, and here's where it's different, your E, first fret. So together, and let's just compare those two back to back. Here's the D major, and here's the D minor. D major, D minor. Alright, so we got those out of the way. Those shouldn't be too hard. They might take a little work, but you should get them pretty quick. And here's the big toughie. This is the G major. This is the first chord guitarists learn that they really have a hard time with. Some people pick it up quick, especially if you're a little older, your hands are a little bigger. But let's just look at it, and you can watch me do it, and you can try it yourself, and we'll talk about some ways that hopefully it'll be a little easier. So I'll start out with the way that I play it. This is not the way that most people play it, but it's the way I was taught. It's the way that I learned it, and I can hardly play it any other way now. So let's look at this. I play it with these three fingers, my middle, ring, and pinky. Most people play it with their first three, with their index, middle, and ring, but you can also play it this way. So let's look at my way first. I play middle finger on the A string, ring finger on the low E string, and then I've got to reach all the way down to the high E string to play third fret on the high E string. And then the D, G, and B are all open. So you don't want to be on the guitar muting those strings. All 6 strings need to ring out. So it should be low E on the third fret, and then second fret of the A, and then open D, open G, open B, and third fret on the E. So all together. And that's how I play it. I've found that most people think this way is a little bit harder. So you can try it that way. If you think it's easier, then do it that way. And then this is the way that most people play it. And this way seems to be easier when you're learning. So it's the exact same chord. We'll just change which fingers we're using. So we'll try pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the A string, middle finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, and then you'll reach your ring finger all the way down to the high E. So we've got low E, 3rd fret, A, 2nd fret, open G, open D, open G, open B, and 3rd fret on the E. All together. So try that way and try the other way and decide which one's easier for you. And then once you decide, just practice it that way. Don't switch between the two. Just pick your way and stick to it. So let's go ahead and look at some exercises, and we'll practice these chords a little bit. Okay, in this first exercise, the transitions we're going to do is G to C, back to G, and D, so it'll go C to D. That's probably the hardest one. D back to C, those are both hard. Switching from D to C, those are hard transitions. But C to G, at least if you play it my way, is pretty easy. So real quick, if you're going C to G and your G, if you play it my way, then all you got to do is move up your middle and ring fingers one string and then put your pinky down in the right spot. Now if you're playing it the other way, like this, you've got a much bigger transition. You've got to take your pointer and ring all the way up to the top. You got to completely reposition them all the way up to the top and then bring your ring finger all the way down. So that's a little bit of a tougher transition. And then, so yeah, work on that. That'll be tough if you're doing it this way. If you're doing it this way, if you're doing it my way, it'll be a reasonably easy transition once you can play that G. Now, switching to the D, that's a tough transition. That's going to take some work, and you're going to want to play it really slow until you can get that transition right. So we'll practice it that way. Let's go ahead and play through it. We'll play through it really, really slow. Here's the tricky part. Got it? And back to G. Okay, let's play that one more time a little bit quicker, and I'm going to try to do it the other way. Forgive me if I don't play those G chords perfect, because I'm not used to playing it that way, but I want you to be able to look and see what that way is going to look like. Let's play it a little bit quicker this time, and I'll do the other Gs. Oops, started on a G. Oops, forgot that last G. All right, let's go on to exercise 2. Okay, the transitions here in exercise 2, going from a D minor to a G. And unfortunately, those D chords are really tough to nail. There's not too many chords that are easy to get to from a D. So there's no real good shortcut that I know of to get those D chords transitioning from other chords or to other chords. It's just one of those things you have to practice time and time again until you get it. So we'll be doing D minor to G, and then the other transition is E minor to A, which is something you should probably already have down. So let's play through it and really focus on hitting that D minor. My advice would be to pick one finger to get down first when you're switching. So if you're going from the G, maybe pick your pointer finger first, that first fret to get down, and then do one after, and then put down the third. So kind of do them in order instead of trying to put them all down together. Do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then try to get faster at that until you just put them all down together. So maybe try that. Let's go ahead and play through it. Okay, let's play it one more time. I'll do the second version of G, and I think this time I'll play a little bit slower. So let's have a go. Okay, that one actually may have been a little bit easier. So let's try the third one. This one should be a little tougher. This last exercise is definitely going to be the toughest in terms of overall difficulty. It is a little bit easier in terms of your actual chord transitions. So these fingers should be a little bit easier for those fingers, but the tricky part is the picking. The picking is going to be a little bit tougher. This exercise is based on a song by Death Cab for Cutie. It's called I Will Follow You Into the Dark. And also there's one chord that we haven't actually learned that's in the tab, and I'll just show it to you really quick. It's called the F major 7, and it's a lot like a C chord. You just have these two, your middle and ring finger, are down a string. So you would have open E, open high E, and then first fret on the B, second fret on the G, third fret on the D. So it sounds like this. You don't play the A or the low A or the low E. So that's the only new chord that shows up. I guess there's another chord that's kind of halfway in between. It's like this. It would be first fret on the B, second fret on the A, and you don't play the low E. just look at the tab. If you're having trouble reading it, there's a how to read tab lesson in the beginner section on the website. So if that's not making sense to you, you can go there. So let's play through it. I'll play through it the first time really slow, and then the second time I'll play it with my fingers off the screen. Or actually I'll zoom out and we can see the whole guitar, and I'll play it so that you can see what it's supposed to sound like at full speed. So let's just start playing it. Okay, hopefully you got that. Now let's zoom out and I'll play it at full speed. So I'm just going to play this third exercise at the tempo that they play it in the song that I got it from. And to do that, I'm actually going to be using my fingers to do it. So keep that in mind if you're trying to play it at this pace. It's going to be awfully tough to do it with a pick. So you may want to try doing it with your fingers if you want to try it. Just start it over. So that's what you can do with open chords.